Welcome, everybody from Rotarians. Good afternoon. We're excited to be here with two beautiful ladies that I want to introduce to you here. We have Angelita Valdez, who is the Behavioral Health Therapist and Chief Executive Officer and proud owner of Servicio de Esperanza, LLC, providing bilingual therapy, substance abuse counseling, and play therapy to families and children. Angelita is involved with numerous community and professional affiliations and serves as a board member for Latinos Working for the Future. Angelita is also a proud member and founder of Alpha Kappa chapter of Hermandad de Sigma Iota Alpha Incorporada. Hopefully I pronounced that properly. And we have Elizabeth Briseño. And Elizabeth is the Human Resource Manager at a local credit union. In addition to human resources, she provides Spanish translation and knowledge of community engagement opportunities. Elizabeth is also Vice President of Latinos Working for the Future and was recognized as 2019's Top 25 Latinx in the state of Michigan by the Hispanic Latino Commission of Michigan. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Hello.
All right. So let's go ahead and jump in. And I should have introduced myself. My name is Troy Bell. I'm the city manager for the city of Muskegon Heights. And it is a pleasure and honor to be here with you today, to be part of this conversation and the opportunity to introduce your organization to the greater Muskegon community and to be part of the work that you're doing to bring better community and a more fuller community to Muskegon. So let's jump in with an introduction of the organization. What is Latinos Working for the Future, and what is the mission? That's for you, Angelita.
Sure. So I'm the president of Latinos Working for the Future. Thank you so much for having us this morning. Our purpose is to unify and organize the Latino community of the greater Muskegon area. It was founded in July of 1991 by my parents, Angel Luis and Connie Navarro, and it continues to this day with the mission of uniting the Latino community and making sure that our voices are heard within the Muskegon County. We celebrate our culture. We unify the different Latinos within the community. There are 20 Latin American countries. And so when we think about Latino, most times we think of Mexican. And so it's important for us to be able to organize within ourselves, but then also to organize and to share our culture and community with the rest of the Muskegon community. We also have to have the active interest in promoting our history. So partnering with different organizations, as well as promoting education, both for our adults and our children.
Well, Angelita, thank you for that. And you touched a little bit on the history. Do you want to go into more depth about the history of the organization?
Sure. So in 1991, I would say that my parents and family members were very active within the community. In 2007 and 8, there was an oral history project that was happening. And so 1991 to 2008, they were very active in terms of creating scholarships for Latino students to go to college. There were 3 different organizations. Latinos Working for 2 under. One was called Latino Generation, which was for the younger children. We had a folklorico dance group here in Muskegon County where we taught children how to do our ethnic traditional dancing and had our traditional wear. We also did a lot of the different activities and festivals in Muskegon County. And then there was also Latino Seniors, and that was for our elderly. We think it's very important to continue to have communication and to have a relationship with our elders. And so it was founded on those 3 different subgroups to the Latinos throughout the years.
Beautiful. So this question that I have is for both of you. Tell me or share with me a little bit about the work that your organization does and the programs that you run. You want to go
So
first, Elizabeth?
I can go
Okay.
first, and I'm going to talk more recently in the last few years. But Latinos Working for the Future has founded the Muskegon County Latino Festival that happened 2 years ago at Hackley Park. It was a great success. Not only were we able to share our culture, but we had vendors and resources there sharing knowledge about what we have in the community for people. We also have been doing a few different presentations. We've did one at Hackley Library, and we discussed a little bit about our culture. We did COVID relief presentations or missions, and we were able to give out PPE equipment to the community. So we've done quite a few events out in the community, just trying to get resources out.
When we think about historically, in 1991, the organization was founded, and at that time, there was a large population of elders in the community that wanted to make this town better for our younger generations. So in 1991 and through the 2000s, there were active participation in different organizations and collaborations. There were scholarships for Latino seniors graduating, going to college. 8 years ago, we had the first Latino college fair at Muskegon Community College, and we held that for a couple of years. In 2007 and 8 was the first book collaboration, and those were from the Latino elders. At this point, in 2021, they're probably in their 90s and 80s, but there was a book that was written from that oral history project in 2007 and 2008 that came out in 2010, and it's called A New Home in Michigan, the Mexican American Experience. Connie Navarro, one of our founders, and Dr. Daniel Yates. And what that did was it was able to bring the community that was here in the 1940s. So for many of our Latino seniors that are here in Muskegon currently, they were migrant workers, and they came from Texas and Florida and would go back and forth between Michigan and their hometowns. And so in World War II, they began to move to Muskegon and really set their roots here. The men began to work in the factories to make to have a better life and to be finding their homes here and to be building their community here instead of being so transient, moving back and forth. So it really depicts what it was like to live in the and how those children raised their families here and how brave their parents were to leave that lifestyle and to come and found their homes here in Muskegon County. And then what it has been like for them to raise their families here and then their children and their grandchildren. And like I said, today they're in their 90s and 80s, and we're still blessed to have many of them with us.
That is absolutely wonderful. And I say that because being Afro-Latino myself, my grandmother coming from Panama, I hear the stories of the difficulties that she went through being an immigrant in this country. And I wish a program like that would have been available for them when they were going through similar things years ago. So that is wonderful. In that vein, can you give us what you would say is the best example of the difference that that your organization makes? Angelita, you want to take a stab at that?
Sure. I would say personally, our organization it was founded in 1991. And so I think even for today, even though we're smaller in stature, that many organizations respect the work that we've done throughout the years and the work that we continue to do with our small board. For example, last year during the COVID pandemic, there was no literature available that was translated into the Spanish language. And so to be called upon by Health West and Muskegon County Health Department to translate some of those documents and to really take up active interest in wanting to make sure that we had COVID vaccinations available in Spanish and having a Latino Day. We were given donations of PPE to give to the different schools and to our different constituents. And so I think it's important that even though we have a 5-member board, that we are still mighty and that we are still active in this community. And for me, I think that speaks a lot. You see lots of organizations that begin and they do a lot of really good work for a couple of years, but to have a nonprofit that's been here for 30 years, the board that is a working board, and to still be well respected, I think speaks highly to our organization.
Excellent. Now, is there anything, Elizabeth, that you would say that you wish more people knew about the organization?
I would have to say that I wish more people knew about our organization. I think we have a good foundation, and we do have a lot of connections, but there are still a lot of people in the Muskegon County that aren't aware of Latinos Working for the Future. And we want to also be that bridge between the organization and the community and getting the word out of Latinos Working for the Future. But also, as Angelita said, having that Spanish literature. There are often times where people go to certain programs or resources in the community, but there is no translator or there is no literature in Spanish. And oftentimes in the Hispanic community, what parents do is they bring their young children to those appointments. And I have personally also found it difficult, even as an adult child, going to my parents' appointments to help them because there is no translation. So I just wish that more people knew of Latinos Working for the Future, and also having that Spanish literature for our community and Spanish translators.
Great. So this question is for you again, Elizabeth. What would make the greatest difference in helping your organization get better at what it does today?
I would have to say Spanish literature and bring in certain organizations and resources to our community. As Angelita mentioned before, we are 5 members, active members in Latinos Working for the Future. So I would say, having more resources, having more people help out, and just, getting the word out and getting resources out to the community.
Okay. And Angelita, what would you say are the biggest obstacles to your mission and accomplishing your mission?
I think the biggest obstacle has been the organization of having those volunteers come and getting the word out about our organization. While we've been here for 30 years, we have been very goal-oriented in terms of scheduling different events. For example, the Muskegon County Latino Festival was a huge venture for us. And Muskegon County, the city, the county departments, all of the respective organizations were excited. And not only were they excited, but the community was excited with having over 3,000 participants on our first year. So I know that our allies want to support us and want to become volunteers of our efforts. And so just that organization piece, and for them to really reach out to us, so that way we can have more programming and to bring more culture and flair to the Muskegon County area.
That's great. I know I would love to volunteer and get involved. So I'm excited just hearing about the program and the things that you're doing. If I wanted to get to know the organization better, what are the best ways to learn more? So on that same note.
I would say through our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page called Latinos Working for the Future. We share announcement and news and events going on there. And then we also have a website called latinosworkingforthefuture.com, where they can also learn more about the organization, the history, the book, and then also contact us through that. It has our email address and phone number. So those are really 2 really good places to learn more about Latinos Working for the Future.
Great. Anything that you'd like to add to that, Angelita?
Also, just to reach out to our board members. We are small, but we are mighty, and we are always willing and receptive to any help that the community wants to give us, and also just to share information. I know with Hispanic Heritage Month coming September 15th through October 15th, we've already been getting emails from different organizations that would love presentations and some assistance in sending up some DEI work within their respective organizations, and they have been reaching out to us already. So So just being open and willing to know that we're open and willing as well.
Great. Well, what you do and what you're doing is a vital and critical part of our community, and I'm excited about the work that you're doing and the opportunity for you to do bigger and better things. So, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
Thank you for having us, and we hope
Mhm.
to collaborate and promote our organization and our mission with your help.
Great. Outstanding. All right, with that, we'll wrap it up and send it back to you to the president.